Good morning. Welcome to a very special, important coaches meeting. That's the coach. I'm Grant Cohn. This is not your normal, ordinary coaches meeting. This is a hybrid. This is a quality control meeting as well. And if you've been watching this channel for a few years, you know when we do a quality control meeting, the 49ers show up. So Kyle, thanks for coming. John Lynch, thank you for coming. Steve, Wilks, Brock, Purdy, everyone's here watching. And so we're going to be addressing the 49ers directly, individually. You guys are welcome to watch, hang around, donate super chats, and we'll address you as well. But this is really between us and the 49ers directly. It's almost a private meeting, except it's 100% public. Yeah. So I want to get that out of the way. Everyone, please be quiet because we need to speak to certain people directly. Let's not mess around. Brock Purdy, thank you for coming. You have the week off. You have 2 weeks off. You're not playing this week. You're not playing next week. Then you get a do-over in the playoffs, and you get to really cement your legacy right now. We got to talk to you about what you need to do, how you need to approach this part of the season, because you're coming off an incredible MVP candidate campaign, but that's over with now. Coach, take it away.
Good afternoon, Brock. It's nice to see you. So you've had an amazing year, okay? And all of the trappings of the numbers and all of the accolades and the hoopla around everything that you've done, it comes to a halt because now the defining moment of who you are as a quarterback is about to be written. The real story starts now, right? So we're in the playoffs, and there's a couple of things that you must take care of in the position that you're in. One, stay healthy. All right. Protect yourself. All right. Don't get outside of the pocket or try to get outside the framework of the offense and injure yourself, ergo hurting your team. Try to keep yourself as healthy as possible, which you've done a pretty good job fairly throughout the year. Stay within the offense that's given to you. Everybody is smart enough to understand where you stand on this team. You do not have to be the unspoken leader. You do not have to be the guy that wins the entire game for us. You have to operate the offense. All right. Because when the offense isn't operating correctly, we don't want you to be the scapegoat. You don't need to be the scapegoat. Okay. So there's a lot of things that we can talk about that you can continue to keep doing: the processing, the leadership, the anticipation, moving outside of the pocket and keeping plays alive. Basically staying as opportunistic as you can while still protecting yourself. But what we need you to do is stay in your lane. Basically, we need you to be able to operate your lane to its fullest, because you have a team that is full of guys who know how to do their job, and it's your job to facilitate them.
Yeah. Brock, I'm talking to you right now. Look at me, Brock, right here. Okay. I really respect what you've done this year. And to the coach's point, you had a lot of pressure. You had a lot of you got the most Pro Bowl votes. You were an MVP. You might win the MVP award this year. You led the league in all these stats. And along the way, you had people, peers of yours, Cam Newton, saying, he's game manager. He's not a real MVP candidate like I was. And I know that pissed you off, as it should. You're a competitor. And so against the Ravens, at certain times you tried to prove that you were more than a game manager. You can prove that one day, but now is not the time to prove that, Brock. The way you played against the Commanders is the way you should play in the playoffs. Conservatively. For now, for the next 3 games, you're a game manager, Brock. Okay? If you think anything else, that's pride messing with you. Okay? Forget pride. You're a game manager for the next month. That means no interceptions. Because if you throw no interceptions in the playoffs, the 49ers should win the Super Bowl. I think they're that good. I think you know it. If you get in a situation where you're down 14, that's a different story entirely. But you're not in that situation very much. You're usually winning. So what you need to do is hand the ball off and not take chances. I'm looking at Russell Wilson when he won the Super Bowl, when he was about your age. He threw no picks in those 3 playoff games. He never passed for more than 215 yards in a game. He never threw more than 25 passes in a game. And that team rolled. That's your job, man. Be a game manager. You can do it. Don't try to do too much. Brock.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I agree with the sentiments. He just needs to protect himself. I have been like, now that we've literally, the season's over, right? Mm-hmm. This game against the Rams does not matter, right? So it is time to kind of start understanding what we've seen thus far in the season. And Brock has done very well. If you would have taken all of this and lumped it in without context and just said, all right, first week of the season, you get a chance to just peek at your numbers without context. Here goes Brock's numbers. We'd be floored. Nobody would be upset with the numbers that Brock is giving us right now. So he has not only done his job, he's exceeded expectations. He has, man. Go ahead.
I agree with you, but Brock, stay with us. Don't leave. We're still talking about you. Mm-hmm. There's a streak in you, Brock, that concerns me a little bit. And it's one of your best qualities, but you don't see yourself as a game manager. You see yourself as a game changer, and there are moments where you try to take those chances, like that first pick against Baltimore, or that first touchdown pass against Jacksonville. I mean, that touchdown pass against Jacksonville, you threw that ball into a sea of hands, and Brandon Ayuk came away with it. But there's probably a 12% chance that would end up good. That's you, and you got to fight that urge, especially before the Super Bowl, because there's no need to take those chances against Philly or Tampa or anyone in the NFC, man. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Agreed.
That's it. All right, let's take some super chats before we address Kyle. Yeah, we're talking to you, Kyle. Hey, Kenyon Gim says Fernando. Oh. There was one earlier.
You're not in the same mood today?
Way earlier, and I missed it. But man, I'm trying to put it. Hold on. I have to just a second, unpin.
Well, you found something?
Nah, there's one that didn't make it. Okay, Jack Jackson. Why no one remembers the catch in 2012 playoff with Alex Smith to Vernon Davis? We celebrate the catch with Steve Young and T.O., but the Vernon Davis was just as awesome. Love your show. Keep it up. Kind of random. Mm-hmm. That was a great play.
Yeah.
It's because that season didn't end with a Super Bowl, but neither did the Steve Young T.O. I don't know. It's a good question. Okay. How about this one? Matthew Sanders. Yes, the Marcellus Wallace playoff strategy. That's right. It's pride messing with you. Although that's not how we put it. Okay. Let's address Kyle Shanahan. Kyle, this is the best team you've had since you've been the head coach of the 49ers. Really has no weaknesses compared to other teams. The expectation is that you are going to win the Super Bowl. And if you don't, you can't just point the finger at your quarterback like you could with Jimmy Garoppolo, because Brock Purdy's really good. So the pressure's on you, Kyle, to deliver a Super Bowl trophy while coaching the best roster in football, because you're a really good coach. Sometimes you overthink things. So we got to make sure you get out of your own way and allow the best team in football to do its thing. What do you think, Coach?
Yeah, I mean, this is one of these tournaments where this one should be real easy for you. At some point, you're going to have to put the boys in the best stuff that they like to do. Yeah. But really, you should be able to let the best players shine on the field, right? And if you automatically know that there's a talent gap in the teams that you're facing throughout the playoffs, let that be the priority. Let that be the light of how you put together your game plan. Okay. Put these boys in the best positions to be better than the guys that they're playing. All right. Don't strap them to scheme. Don't strap them to process. Right. Yeah. These guys need to be given. This is the time where in the playoffs, the boys should be getting the best of what they do. Yeah. Right. Because you got to be able to pump your guys up. You got to be Bundini on this one. You got to pump them up. You got to scream in their ears and let them know that they're the warriors of the universe and that they can handle anything and run through walls, man. That's your job, okay? But if you get them believing in game plans, all right, then you got to understand that how fast you switch into a new game plan is your strength. All right.
Yeah.
Not contemporaneous coaching, because that's what you haven't done throughout the year. And at this stage of the game, it's all about process. It's what you got used to. So if you're going to put together a game plan, my man, have some other contingencies put up where you can slip right into something else. All right. But we don't want to see a game plan that we see start from the beginning of the game, then we see go still, then we see get found out and is not working, and then we see the entire thing fall apart. So your true time to get tagged into this entire endeavor is when you got to start adjusting on the fly. And that's the biggest thing that we need to see out of you, man. Like, honestly, like after all of the narratives, all of the back and forth, the quarterback stuff, the wins and losses, the wins from behind, whatever, all of this stuff that we do to virtue signal to the fact that you're not doing one thing, and that's coaching in front of us.
Yeah.
You got to coach in front of us. That's it. Like, you can't always prepare the meal in the kitchen. Sometimes you're going to have to do something in front of us. And that's what we want to see. We want to see you coach in front of us. All right. So, and that's adjusting. That's going to happen in the game, because that's what winning is all about. And that's what's going to be called to you, man. No free rides, man. No free meals.
Yeah, I don't even know, Kyle, if you're going to need to make mid-game adjustments in the NFC playoffs. You may cruise, but like what I'm concerned about with you is what you did against Dallas last year in the playoffs. You remember what you did, okay? You're better than Dallas, but you came into that game and you have a tendency, Kyle, and look, I have the same tendency. I think you and I are very similar, but we like to call attention to ourselves. I think sometimes with you, Kyle, it's not enough to win the game. You have to be recognized as one of the driving forces behind the win. It wasn't just the players. It wasn't just the overwhelming talent advantage that the 49ers have. It was also Kyle. It was his genius. It was his cleverness. It was your cleverness. And so like, that's great, man. It's great that you have that ability, that you can outcoach some of the best coaches in the league. But what you did against Dallas was you had an overly cute game plan with a bunch of like gadget runs, and your players had to come to you mid-game and say, hey, can we just line up and beat this team? We don't have to trick this team. We don't have to outthink this team. We could just line up and beat them. And that's your job. Get out of the way. It's not about you. Because if this team wins the Super Bowl and you're not dazzling people like the all 22 watchers with your play design, it doesn't matter. You still get the credit. You get the credit for winning the Super Bowl, man. You don't have to dazzle us along the way with your like guitar solos, or I think of him as like the dude in the jazz quartet who just milks his moment, man. It's like,
I gotta get my solo. I gotta get my encore solo.
It's not about you, man. Fall back. Just play the bass. Just play the freaking drums. Keep the freaking rhythm, please.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, really, this is just gonna be and it's gonna be very noticeable, because when things are going well, it's a very familiar aroma, right? It smells the same way every time they win. Right?
Yeah.
They get up big.
They score in their first drive.
The lead is working. They're up. They're playing complimentary football. Ergo, it takes the run game away from the team that we're facing. So they don't ever get to get our defense on the field long. Our defense gets to pin their ears back. Trent Williams has his gloves off by the end of the third. The game is over. They're up by 10. They could have been up by 20, but
right.
We saw the blunders, but nobody talks about it because we won and scored 30 points. And we end up talking about how masterful the game plan was, because truthfully, the game was over before it ended. Right. And that's the aroma of how the Niners win. Truthfully, like that's how we've won games. Right.
Yeah.
But we need to see something different, man. I got to be able to see it when it's like, okay, they got our number. They got enough dogs. There's no weaknesses on the field that we can just take advantage of all day. Let's see how the boys play. This is good on good football. This is hat on a hat. Like the Ravens was good on good football.
Yeah. Kyle, this is where I think you get messed up. You're a really good coach, but sometimes you get caught up in the chess match with the defensive coordinator if you really respect him. So last year against Dan Quinn, you're like, oh man, we coached together. He knows my stuff. So you come into a game trying to break all these tendencies. It's like, nah, you don't need to do that. You have a better team than him. Just do what you do and don't worry about Dan Quinn. I think sometimes when you really respect a defensive coordinator, you try to break all your tendencies. Don't do that. That's a mistake. You have the best team. Coach it the way Harbaugh would coach it. One of the things I like most about Harbaugh as a coach is he doesn't flinch in those moments. He likes to beat you with his strength and not trick you, because that's imposing your will. Impose your will, Kyle. That's a different side of you. Impose your will.
Yeah.
Yeah. Showtime 2118 says, we like to debate who the MVP of the Niners is. Did Kyle tell us who he thinks the MVP is by choosing to play everyone and rest his star MVP quarterback? Well, Christian's not playing either. Showtime. You didn't think of that, did you?
2118.
Danny Gray playing. Excited to see Sam play. Are you? Danny Gray, I don't know if Danny Gray's playing.
Yeah, I would love to see Danny Gray play, but Sam is Sam.
Yeah. I'm excited to talk about Sam playing.
Yo, somebody put Sam Darnold, Chuck Norris.
What do you mean, as a picture?
No, like clickbait motorsports. His last comment.
Yeah. Remilia Sports Report RSR says Rams want 7 seed play over rested Niners in first game. Okay. Well, I hope they get that 7 seed that they're playing for, man.
Yeah.
I think Kyle's going to have Sam sling it. What about you?
Yeah, he's going to do that. He's going to have him on full display.
And here's why. Here's why, Kyle, we're not done with you. We're not done with you. Here's why you're going to have Sam on full display. Because that calls attention to you. Because if Sam does well, it's not really about Sam. It's about you, Kyle. And if Sam does poorly, then it's, well, even Kyle Shanahan couldn't do anything with Sam Darnold. He tried. He's the best. So, Kyle, you're not slick. I know what you're doing. And I kind of appreciate it. But at the same time, you said a lot of stuff about Sam Darnold, man. So you better. Yeah, we'd like you to be right. We don't forget the things you said.
No, never forget the words that you said about Sam Darnold.
All right, let's do a little bet US. What I think is really interesting about this week is you can actually wager on the Niners-Rams game. That just seems irresponsible. You don't know who's playing in this game, and the Niners are -4. Would you feel comfortable putting a wager on that one?
That game is mystery meat. You don't know what you're going to get out of there.
I'm surprised it's on the board. Is this an opportunity? Man. If you're like a real, smart wagerer, would you look at this game and be like, okay, Sam Darnold -4. I love that action.
Even everything about this game is weird. The cover is weird. 41 points, right? Yeah, like, even the spread is weird. 4.1. No, I wouldn't bet on this game at all. It's a sucker's bet because it's basically saying like just throw your money at this and see who comes out.
Pretty much. You have no intel on who's even going to freaking play. All right, let's go through the other games just because that one's I couldn't believe that you could actually wager on that game. It's an exhibition game. Steelers -3.5 on the road against the Ravens. Are the Ravens in their players?
Yeah, I think they probably are. They got the number. They have everything they need for the season.
The NFL needs to fix this, man. You don't want all these exhibition games weeks.
Well, I mean, they want the extra game, and look what's happening on the extra game.
Yeah, it's what you get. This is what you get. Houston -1.5 on the road against the Colts.
I take Houston. CJ Stroud's back, feeling good.
Yeah, Shane Steichen doing a good job. So is D'Amico. Dallas Cowboys on the road -13 against Washington, another team that's tanking.
They're trash. Dallas,
probably
parody
Dallas.
of the NFL.
Here's a good game. Buffalo -3 on the road against Miami. That's a game.
You ever think there would be a time in the NFL where you could say a team was tanking? Remember when that used to be something where like you were proud to say about the NFL, where it's like, bro, the game's way too hard for you to tank. Are you crazy? Yeah, like can't happen. Like now it's like clearly happening.
It's clearly happening. Who you like, Buffalo Bills or the Miami Dolphins? Bills -3 on the road.
Bills.
I like the Bills. I don't believe in the Dolphins.
I don't believe in the Dolphins. No.
Falcons +3.5 on the road against the Saints. Falcons.
I'll take the Saints.
I'll take the Saints too. I really believe in Derek Carr. Eagles -5 against the Giants. Ooh. Give me the Giants. Give me the Giants. 5 points against the Eagles.
I just love to see them struggle. I like seeing
You're not that far from Philly, right? You're a couple hours from Philly.
I'm right here. I see them walking around. I let them have it every time I see them.
That's good.
Fly, Eagles, fly. Like I go at him, dog. Like
Cleveland plus 7 on the road against Cincinnati. Why? Excuse me?
Who's your boy over there? Browner? Brownie?
Wait, are the Niners playing on Saturday this week?
Do we? Hold on.
What is this? What is going on?
Go to our game. Yeah, it's right there. 425.
Yeah.
Go up, go down one.
Hold on.
Just scroll down. There you go.
425.
4:25 p.m.
I need to know. I cover this.
You know what's crazy is that they don't ever make that stuff like readily available. I should ask Google. 49ers.
No, it's Sunday. I'm confused. Are they have a bunch of games on Monday? What is going on? I'm confused. Oh well. It's probably not good television to just start looking things up.
Yeah, it's at 4:25 on Sunday.
Huh.
And it's
when are the Browns playing? And why are they plus 7 against the Bengals? What the hell is that? I'm confused.
I don't know, bro.
That's crazy, man. I'm taking the Browns.
Suck. You're taking the Browns?
Plus 7?
I'm taking the Bengals. Taking the Bengals, man.
To cover a 7-point spread against the Browns. Yep. The Browns are going to win the Super Bowl. The Browns are my favorite team in the league. I'm a Browns fan. I haven't told you.
Well, that says it all right there.
There you go. Bears plus 3 against the Packers on the Packers at home.
Packers.
Seahawks minus 3 against the Cardinals. Seahawks on the road. Give me the Cardinals.
Cardinals.
Give me the Cardinals.
The Cardinals' run game is for real.
It is. Jets plus 2 on the road against the Patriots.
Sucks. Jets. The Patriots suck.
Jaguars minus 3.5 on the road against the Titans.
I'm taking the Jags. Tennessee's reeling.
Broncos plus 3 on the road against the Raiders.
Broncos.
It's revenge of Stidham. Revenge game. Vikings plus 3.5 on the road against the Lions. Yeah. All right. Well, if you guys want to wager, go to BetUS, use the link in the description, and receive a 125% bonus from BetUS. Mm-hmm. All right. We're back to the meeting. Steve Wilks, come to the front. Talking about you. You got a lot on your plate. What's the first thing he needs to address, Coach?
Hey, Coach. Great first year. You've had your ups and downs. You've battled. All right.
You started in the booth. Now you're on the sideline.
Come on, man. It's been a full 360 spectrum with you, man, from the coaching to the bringing in the guys that we don't like. Isaiah Oliver, bringing up these guys. Look, you've done a great job, and you've shown mettle with being able to adjust, right? There's a couple of coaches that could kind of take your lead, if you know who I'm talking about, right? I like the fact that you've been able to come down on the sideline, kind of coach outside of what you usually like to do. And you did it for the fellas. And because of it, we've seen a whole nother side of you coaching that I don't think anybody of us or the players would have been able to see or be motivated by to get us thus far in the season. Make no mistake about it, Coach. The offense are the rock stars, but we're the managers. The defense runs the show. We handle the business, all right? And we are defensively led. And what I would love for you to do is be a little bit more creative with the rushes. I understand that these boys want to rush 4 because it's what they believe in and it's what they like. But sometimes they're just too tired to get there. And we're going to need a little bit more ingenuity with some of the simulated pressures that you've put together earlier in the season that they didn't necessarily know how to execute. I'd like to see you try to get that done a little bit more with this depth, with this round of characters and guys that you have, because I think that they don't know what they don't know. All right. And don't let these guys kind of gang up on you and take you out of your original game plan, because that may be the wrinkle that this team needs defensively, because the truth of the matter is that it all does lean on you. The defense is what makes this team goes. If we're going to lose this team, we're not going to lead with what the offense did. We're going to lead with what our all-pro defense did. Yeah. Also, there are some things that I think that you already know, but getting things together with these buys, technique, tackling, fundamentally tackling and closing in on the ball. These boys got to swarm. They all got to get a hat on the hat. And you understand that some of these guys they're built differently. You got some enforcers and you got some wilting flowers. You got some guys that make business decisions. But the biggest thing is that all of these guys need to get on the ground. This is playoff football. So you know that refs are going to be swallowing their whistles. They're going to be letting guys play. They're going to be letting things get a little bit chippy out there. So it's going to be all the more so to be pertinent. It's going to be pertinent for you to get on top of the tackling and the fundamentals defensively. So that's kind of where we stand right now. And that's basically what the things that have to be done.
I got to talk to you, Steve, now. I want to talk about something else. I want to talk about your game planning. I think you got the right idea for the Eagles. I'm not going to tell you what to do against the Eagles. You know, that was phenomenal. You exposed them. You did that. I didn't like your game plan against the Rams. I thought you were really soft against them. You played two deep safeties and zone coverage and sort of just let Puka Nacua eat you up. You won the game, but more because of the offense. Like, I don't like that strategy against the Rams, playing too deep and keeping everything in front of you, because that's a team that can really run the ball. If you don't play 8 in the box against the Rams, they'll run it on you every play. They also have a really good quarterback, an elite quarterback, who they don't have an explosive offense. They want to throw the 9-yard curl route anyway. And if you're going to concede that to Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp over and over and over and over and over again, you could lose. So I think you need to be a little bit more aggressive and match up with this team. Play 8 in the box, shut down the run. They are a run first team, and match up man to man, because Puka Nacua is good, and Cooper Kupp is good, but I think you can cover them. I think where they're going to beat you is just finding holes in the zone. And I think Stafford can beat you that way too. Like, if you give him a zone, he'll dice you up. He's got the receivers to do it. So match up, be a little more aggressive. Steve. What do you think? Is that fair?
Yeah, that's definitely fair.
Remember, he had Trevarius Ward playing like 10 yards off the ball week 2, and he was just getting eaten alive in the first half. Like, don't do that. Trevarius Ward is a Pro Bowl corner. You have a really, really good defense. Play a little more aggressively.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yeah. I mean, use the guys that you have. Those are the things that, those are some of the things that kind of come through when we do lose games. It's like, man, I just kind of feel like we're strapped behind our coaching right now. Like, let the guys play.
That applies to the Lions too, man. If you play the Lions, they have 2 really good running backs. They have a real good run game. They don't have an explosive offense. Jared Goff will dink and dunk you to death. So if you play them, they're a very similar team. You got to be aggressive and take away that run game, and don't just keep everything in front of you. That works against some teams, but not against those 2 if you face them.
Yeah, he's definitely going to have to be more persistent in the run game, and then, a little bit of that is just not having the dogs. I'm not as confident in the signing of Sebastian, the kid from
Joseph Day. Yeah.
Joseph Day. He didn't necessarily pop as far as I'm concerned, but TBD, he could be here a little bit longer so he can understand how we do things, right? We're not asking for like immediate production. I mean, in a way we are, but my biggest thing, to be real, is this time off going to be enough to get Eric Armstead back? Because I feel like that's kind of like the news that nobody wants to talk about. Like, that's the elephant in the room right now. Like, is he?
I bet he'll come back at some point, but I don't know what he's gonna look like. And remember, I think last year he had the same injury and was sat out from week 5 to week 13. So keep that in mind. All right, Steve, thank you for listening. Adam Gardner, national media is going after Kyle for resting Brock. I think it's a good decision. He could use the non-contact rest to fully heal that stinger. The national media is going after Kyle. Who? I missed that.
How do you heal a stinger?
It seems like a fairly obvious move. Matthew says, yes, the Marcellus Wallace playoff strategy. Yeah, we got you. We got you. Got you. Ricky Williams. I'm a big fan. Haven't seen Moody kick a game winner. He's automatic from 35. Anything over 45, I'll be more disappointed that the team put him in that position. And so should they. Do y'all have confidence in Moody?
I mean, kicker's got to kick, man. I mean, what else can they do if they ain't kicking? right? So I
Very
mean,
talented. Kick it far.
he can make the kicks. They spent a real pick on this kid. Like at some point, putting him in those positions kind of is the reason why. It kind of like proves why you made the pick, right? Because you think he can handle these positions. I don't think that kickers get the same. I don't know, caveat as like young quarterbacks with pressure. Like I kind of feel like being a kicker, pressure is kind of like a prerequisite.
Yep. Showtime 2118 says CMC hurt that ish don't count. I don't understand what he's talking about. I don't know. Sorry, Showtime. Ethan M says Wilks was just voted second best DC by the players. Good for Wilks. He had a great year. Well deserved. Giovanni Arambula says, as a 22-year-old fan, I really want to see the Niners win a Super Bowl. You were born in 2002? I was in 8th grade.
2002.
2002, I was in high school.
I was a junior in high school.
Ugh.
God.
Yeah. Matthew Sanders says, nah. If it's 4th and 2 or a 45-yard field goal, Kyle gonna run. Yeah, I mean, trust your offense. Okay, back to Nick Bosa. We're going to talk to you. No one addresses you directly anymore. No one looks you in the eye. You make more money than Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch put together. You're essentially the second highest paid person in the organization after Jed York. So you run this team. You own it. You have a part ownership stake. We're talking right to you, though, okay? Because we don't work for you. And you're a really good player, Nick, but we got to axe to grind. A bone to pick. You need to set a better example for the rest of the players, Nick. You're a captain. You're the best player on the team. And frankly, you're a little selfish out there. Out there hunting stats, hunting sacks, obviously to justify the Mondo extension you signed. I get it. But you are the guy who rushes past the quarterback and lets him escape out of the pocket. You didn't do it against the Eagles, and you really, really talked a lot about how proud you were that you didn't sell out for sacks. We were all proud of you, Nick. But then you went back and did it against the Ravens. And so when you do it, Chase Young does it. Cleveland Farrell does it. Randy Gregory does it. Because you give them the license. You're the best player. So, Nick, please don't hunt sacks in the playoffs. You don't need to. Keep the quarterback in the pocket. Just generate pressure. Play non-selfishly. Sorry I had to put it that way, but that's how I feel. Coach might disagree.
A little. So, Nick, solid year. You've caught up. You were late this year coming in, and really, it's been an up and down year for you in the run game, and that's really where it stands as far as being able to hold down the edge. And I do commend your effort. You came into a new style of defense. We're asked to have a whole new different set of responsibilities in order to have the defense pop off. And on top of it, your own individual production suffered as a result of that. With that, you're still on pace. I mean, we're sitting here at one game left in the season. You're 1.5 sacks better than your rookie year when you had the AP Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I'm not concerned about your sacks, Nick. I'm impressed. You're an excellent pass rusher, man.
10.5 sacks.
Oh, yeah.
All right. The defensive player of the year that year, last year, you had 41 solo tackles. You're 7 tackles off of that with 34 and 18 assist tackles, which is 8 more than the 10 you had last year, rounding out 19 versus 16 tackles for loss in the 2 previous years. So right now, you're neck and neck with the production. What I've seen is that the assist tackles is where we've seen the biggest uptick in your production, which kind of shows that you are holding a lot more responsibilities and not being able to hunt your food as more. Maybe that's emblematic of what Grant's talking about when he sees you kind of playing selfishly, if you will, where you seem to be pressing to get your own numbers because you have so much more responsibility because you are the $35 million man. What we need to see right now is just consistency. That's the biggest thing that we need to see out of you, Nick. We need to see the same level of effect that you have on our defense during the season. Just simply lateral that over into the playoffs because that seems to be the trend. The trend seems to be, it's not the fact that you don't You're not great in the playoffs. You're not off the charts in the playoffs. You're just not yourself, right? You're not as consistent as you can be when you are in the regular season. So we don't need to see, ridiculous numbers that completely make you the tip of the spear amongst all teams across the tournament. We just need you to be your regular self in the playoffs and need to understand that there are going to be teams that are going to scheme for you. They're going to chip, push, pull on you, trap you, leave you alone. You need to be cognizant of those things and just understand that, hey, heavy wears the crown, especially with the price tag. But we just need you to be consistent, lateral over the same production in the season into the playoffs.
Yeah. And Nick, what did you say before you faced Jalen Hurts? What was the plan? What's the blueprint for Jalen Hurts? Don't give him diagonal escape paths out of the pocket, meaning don't give up the B gap. Don't let him be able to run up and out. You made that real clear. If he escapes the pocket, he has to go back and around. You made that real clear. That should be the goal every week, not just for Jalen Hurts. You never want to give up those diagonal escape paths for a quarterback, because once he escapes that way, he doesn't have to run past the line of scrimmage. He can just sort of tightrope that line of scrimmage, and the whole defense is at his mercy. You're out of the play. Zone defense is broken down. Everyone's just plastering and trying to hold on for dear life at that point. Stafford will destroy you that way. Jared Stidham put up 30 points on you guys that way. That should be the goal every freaking week, Nick. And I know it's tough because you want to rush up field and spin back and sack the quarterback, but you don't have to. You don't have to justify your contract in the playoffs. You just have to win the Super Bowl. If you win the Super Bowl, no one's going to care about how much money you're making or that you only had 10.5 sacks this year. So be mature. Be prudent. I believe in Nick. I think he can do it now that we've told him. Nick, thanks for listening. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, we just need the same production, man. You know what I mean? Like we saw it last year where it was kind of like, where is he? You know what I'm saying? So we just need to see him we just need him to lateral in that same production. That's all.
Okay. All right. We've come to the final section of the quality control coaches meeting. And for this portion, Kyle, Shanahan, John Lynch, we would politely ask you two to leave. Thank you so much for coming. You're not required for this. And actually, you're not invited for this portion. This is just for the players and the position coaches. So the two leaders of the franchise, thank you very much. Jed York, you came too. Thank you very much. You can leave.
John, glad you came.
Thank you.
But there's the door.
There's the door. Okay. We'll wait because we want to make sure that they're listening, eavesdropping, because it's private. This is serious.
Get him out of here, big Dom.
Yeah, you got to go. Sorry, Dom. Let's go. All right. Let's talk directly to the position coaches and the players, but mostly position coaches. This falls on you guys. Coach, you start. I'm going to get upset.
Who's it going to be? Okay.
Who's it going to be? Who's it going to be?
Who's it going to be, man? Listen. Somebody's got to be able to talk to this man, Kyle. Okay. When it comes down to all of you guys seeing him foolishly going forward with a plan that you all know is not working, somebody's got to be able to step up to him and say, hey, dude, it's not working.
Yep.
We have to abort. We have to change course.
Yep.
Why don't we get back to doing the things that we do best?
Yeah.
Who is it going to be? And you know what? Who's it going to be when we're up and we have a lead? Because that's when that shit really happens. Who's it going to be?
Chris
Who's
Forster.
it going to be?
I'm looking at you right now.
Hey, Bobby. Coach Turner, I love you. I love you, Bobby. I love you. But Coach Turner, are you going to be the one to go to Kyle and say, hey, Coach, can we just run the ball? Can we just run the ball?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, is there ever going to be somebody who's going to come up to Kyle and just say, hey, man, I understand that this game plan is something that you really worked hard on, and you
Yeah.
really talked about this all week. Beautiful job. Kudos.
Yeah.
But right now,
It's not working.
it's not working, and you've got to go back to what we do best.
Thank you. Who can say that? Who's going to say that?
Coach Forrester, is it going to be you? You're the run game coordinator.
We need to talk to you, Chris. So the Ravens game is what we're talking about right now. The Ravens had a great pass defense, a terrible run defense, and Kyle's plan, which you guys signed off on or allowed to happen, was to pass. Then we asked you, Chris, the next week, what the hell was that, essentially? And you said, hey, man, you got to ask Kyle Shanahan about that. We really felt we could have had a lot of success running the ball. Say it to his face then, Chris. Don't tell us. That's a conversation you have with Kyle during the game, not with us on a Thursday. Chris,
because you said that. You know what? We wouldn't even be able to talk about this narrative if you wouldn't have said that. You said that.
You acknowledged it. You thought you were going to be running the ball. You thought you could have had success. You were surprised. Christian was surprised. Christian even talked to the freaking media the next week. I don't know what that means, but I can interpret it. Christian, why didn't you talk to the media this week? See, he still won't talk. He still won't talk. Still upset.
Kyle's in the chat.
Kyle's in the chat. Kyle, we told you. Are you serious? Oh my God.
We told you to get out of. You're relentless, Kyle.
Kyle, you got to go. This is private.
This is what we're talking about, guys.
This is the problem. This is the issue with the Niners culture right here.
Problem.
Micromanaging. Someone needs to stand up to this guy. I'm not calling Kyle a bully, but he can become one if no one ever stands up to him. He needs it.
We kicked him out of the goddamn chat. We kicked him out of the room, and he comes and gets on his computer and gets in the chat. This is what we're talking about.
Boundaries. We are talking boundaries here.
Come on, Kyle.
No,
Jesus.
Come on. No, this is a great opportunity. Bobby Turner, Chris Forrester. Someone needs to get in the chat right now and tell him to go. Who's it going to be?
Take his phone away from him.
See, that's one of the things that's one of my problems with your team, 49ers, is that you guys have a great team, but this culture, it's like, it's a little cultish. Kyle is the Pied Piper. He can do no wrong, and no one here can check him. Everyone needs to get checked in life.
Come on now. If you've
reached a status where no one can check you,
you need to at least know how to check yourself. And Kyle can't do that. He cannot check himself. Who's going to do it?
What happens if you don't check yourself? You wreck yourself.
You become a danger to yourself.
You wreck yourself. I learned that 30 years ago.
Come on, man. You riggedy wreck yourself.
You riggedy wreck yourself.
Come on, dog. So, hey, look. And you act wiggity whack.
So wiggity whack.
Come on, bro. So my thing is, shout out to Chris Cross. So look, what Kyle needs to do is sometimes you guys got to understand when it's okay to nudge him. You're on TV. A little bit of you, if you could talk to him on national television, he's not just going to curse you the fuck out. You know what I'm saying? You could do it, but guys, you got to understand that you can't be afraid of this man. Chris, Coach Turner, Coach Forrester, Coach Holland, some of the defensive guys. Stop acting like you don't know what to say to him.
Also, like Bobby Turner, you are indispensable to this operation, okay? You tried to retire last year. The Niners lost a bunch of games, and Kyle dragged you out of retirement. You're in your mid to late 70s. You can say whatever the hell you want to say to Kyle. He's not going to fire you. If you walked away, he would beg you to come back. And that goes for you too, Chris Forrester. And that goes for you too, Chris Kasarik. Flex for the betterment of the franchise. The franchise needs it. Kyle needs it.
This is the price we're talking. He's in there again, Grant. Get him. This is the price that we pay for talking the truth. This is the
Grant,
price
don't ask me the questions I ain't answering, you clown.
Come on.
You love my questions. Don't act like you don't like my questions.
Don't be vindictive. Don't be vindictive, Kyle.
And we're not saying pick a fight with your head coach. We're saying stand up. People who have the gravitas and the standing, use it. I'm not
Come on,
talking to you,
man.
Leonard Hankerson. I'm not talking to you, Leonard Hankerson. Okay.
No,
offense.
we're not talking to
That's not your
Daryl
job.
Tapp. We're not
No.
talking to Leonard Hankerson. We're
No.
not talking to the guys who just simply want to do their job and further their careers. We're talking about the arbiters of peace.
Yeah. We're talking
The
to you,
people-
Steve
Come
Wilks.
on.
We're talking to you. And frankly, we're talking to you, Fred Warner. We're talking to you, Nick Bosa. We're talking to Christian George.
All of you guys.
Rock.
Look how relentless he is. He's incessant. This is an issue.
Yeah. And frankly, if we're going to talk candidly without him here, he is the person most likely to ruin this season. He's very good at what he does, but he's erratic and he has a history. He has blown multiple 10-point leads in Super Bowls. Multiple.
He's going to be the drama.
He's
going to be the drama.
You guys
He's the
have
drama.
to make sure. You know how you guys say Dak's going to Dak? Well, Kyle's going to Kyle, and you
Kyle's
guys have to
gonna
make
Kyle.
sure he doesn't. That's why we kicked him out.
Yeah,
That's why he's trying to get in the chat right now, because he knows.
he does know, right? I mean, literally, this is to the point where this is just digital harassment. Digital harassment. All right.
He has no impulse control.
We're sitting here on a Thursday. Don't you have anything better to do? It's nuts.
It's incredible. Okay, the meeting is over. Thank you very much for giving us your attention for 45 minutes. That's a lot. I know.
Yeah, man.
Now go take care of business against the Rams. Don't get hurt. And thank quality control and the coach after a win one time. One time.
Mm-hmm.
We'd appreciate it.
Love it.
That's it. That's all we got. I think that was a great show.
was
When the Niners win the Super Bowl, I'm asking for a ring because of this.
Yeah,
Digital harassment was the phrase of the day, by the way.
Yes.
Make sure everyone subscribes to the coach's YouTube channel. The link is in the description. His channel's blowing up.
Thank you.
Does a really good job. He's a complete natural, as you guys can see, but he's more than a natural. He's very well prepared. He's a pro. Unlike me, I just shoot from the hip. You know how I do, but I wore my quality control jacket today to bring it back. See you guys. I'll be back. I'm going out of Santa Clara. I'll see you guys, when I see you.
All right, guys.